This is Banging on the Drum. It is another beautiful day in West Central Wisconsin, and welcome to episode 128 of Banging on the Drum. Please remember to like, subscribe, download, share our stuff, and we would greatly appreciate it. But as always, I'm your host, P-Dog, joined alongside my host, M-Dog. And M-Dog, how you feeling about the games this weekend?
Fairly shitty, to be honest. I mean, so like scores ended up being the same, but basically my feelings towards both games are complete opposites.
So, yeah, I think I'm getting some like loser in me with my Wisconsin sports teams. And honestly, like after watching both these games, and people listening to this might be like, oh, this guy's blind. But I left the weekend like very optimistic about what each of these teams can be and will be in the near future. So, which I don't think a lot of people will feel that way about the Packers. I think there's a fair share of people out there with how the Badgers played against Ohio State. We're kind of like, shit, if Braylon Allen didn't go down, that might have been a dogfight at the end. But both of these games had little things in them that would have made the game quite a bit closer. But let's start out. Let's get the bullshit out of the way first. So our 6-pack and a pound challenge of the week. So if you're tuning in and you're new, we pick 7 games every week. This is sponsored by Taco John's. Like Taco John's has actually talked to me and they were like, we're going to give you free tacos at the end of the year for this. But anyways, we're picking 7 games. We pound one. We do a double dog for one. But long story short, Mike went 1-5-1 and is negative 600 bing bongs on the week, which puts him at a total. Yeah, that's a bad week. That's almost tough to do.
With 1-5-1, I feel like because I lost my big boys, I should be way worse than that. Like way worse, like money wise, I suppose.
Yeah, no, I was doing the math real quick. You might be. So you are negative 300, 400, 500, 600. You won one, so that puts you back at 500, and then you pushed, so nothing, and then you lost. So yeah, you're back at negative 600. So yeah, no.
Right, so negative 600, pretty shitty week by all accounts if you're only picking 7 games, and so I'm just gonna pay up right here, right out the jump. We don't even need. You can go through how you did, but I'll pay up while you're going through that.
Yeah. So Mike's cracking a rat back. He's getting just really good at this because he's been getting his ass whipped all season. I don't know what our records are on the year. Oh, nice work, Mike. That was smooth. He looks good. He looks like he's been there before.
Nope. I still just filling with joyful tears. So getting a nice little sun drop in. So
yeah, getting the sun drop in early, get the caffeine kick, get ready for the episode. But yeah, just to toot my own horn on this one a little bit, even though I didn't even do that great. But I went 4-3, hit my big games, ended up plus 300 on the week, and I'm plus 1,200 on the year. So you got some work to do. But I think we've had a worse deficit where you came back and got me.
So I think we've always adjusted late in the season, like we made concessions where I could put like more than 100 on a game or something like that.
I don't think so though, dude. I think it just comes back. Okay. Like I had one of those weeks where you slapped. We used to do every single game, so that like made it a little bit more money on the line.
And I did like that a lot more, to be honest. I don't like selecting the games.
See, I do because there's games that I don't like to pick, and then this I can cherry pick games I feel good about. Like whereas that, like there was games like where I'd be like, I wouldn't touch them with Mike's stick, and I would have to pick them anyways. So
right.
So this has been helping me out. Right. Mm-hmm. With no clue. But let's get into that Packer game. How we like to do Packer game, just jog your memories. I actually took notes throughout the whole Packer game today, so we're going to see how this goes. We did not rehearse this, so let's do it. Let's get to it. So Packers versus Vikings. Pat's notes in his notes app on his phone. So first drive, Packers get the ball. We have an awful call on a 3rd and 1. They just blew it up. Like I don't know if someone missed a block, or I hope someone missed a block. Like I hope that wasn't the plan. Like let's not block this guy
that we're running the play into. Yeah, we're running the play into that guy, or that's where the running back chose to take the ball anyway.
Yeah. So that was bad. I'm pretty sure it was 3-0. Yeah, it was 3-0 because we didn't have a first down for like the whole first half. It felt like. I think you got that somewhere in your notes.
So right up until the last drive, we did not get a first down.
Oh yeah, because we ended up with
3 play drives all around. I mean, so there's a bunch that were probably like 5 play drives because we had 2 penalties that fell inside there.
Yeah.
First downs.
Yeah, and then the Vikings get the ball. So the big one play on this one, Quay missed a pick that it looked like could have turned the game pretty early. Vikings had, drive the ball down the field like fairly decently in that one. I can't remember if there was probably a penalty in that one because it seemed like there was a penalty in every drive, but ultimately end up missing a field goal right off the bat. So we're still at 0-0 in this one. Next drive for the Packers, another 3-and-out, big one on this. Musgrave drops a like for sure first down catch. Sure, he like got tackled a little bit, but like
it's a catch.
Oh yeah, especially when you're a tight end. Like that he was technically open. He was NFL open for sure. To catch that ball. So he drops that, another 3-and-out. Vikings second drive, Kirk drops that dime to Addison that ends up being a drop once we review it. But then I can't remember who got the like roughing call. It's not roughing, but whatever. Basically targeting.
So it was Owens. It was a bullshit call.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that was like, so they got 15 yards, but it was a drop. But they got a 15-yard penalty that gave them the first down on a basically like a shoulder to shoulder and then helmets contacted. And I feel like I could make an argument in that play that Addison's the one that engaged the head-to-head contact and not Owens, right?
I think even when the refs look back at that one, it was just
They were probably thinking how stupid they were to have called that after they had to look at it for the drop.
Oh
That'd
yeah,
be my
yeah,
guess.
yeah. No, bang bang. But then whatever. Then we get a roughing the passer, which it was a roughing the passer, and it was just a dumb penalty. I can't remember exactly who it was on. Probably Gary.
I think it was Enigbari on that one. He
Okay.
hit it pretty hard in the back, right? That's the one. Somebody hits him kind of in the front, and then
Yeah.
the other guy hits him pretty significantly in the back. I think it was Enigbari.
Yeah. Dumb penalty there though. Then just soft coverage off on out through that rest of the drive, and then that's where the Vikings get their first rushing touchdown of the year. Cam Akers runs one in. So pretty shitty drive by the Packers, but it was by the Packers defense. But if you take that 15-yard penalty out of there, clean up like the roughing the passer. And I know we're like if, shoulds, woulds, coulds, like.
And to be fair, like you're going to get that that pass penalty, the one that's on the rough or the unsportsmanlike conduct or whatever it is. I don't remember exactly how they call it. The one with Jonathan Owens, like that play is going to happen pretty frequently in the NFL, right? Like, so that's one that you can't really clean up. Like, I don't think he did anything wrong. He just got a call that went against him, right? Where the roughing the passer, you can for sure clean up. That's something that you never have to really do.
Yeah. But so at this point in the game, Packers are down 7-0. We get the ball back. Vikings get a big sack. So Jordan Love was dropping back. Then right after that, we get a delay game. And then it's 3rd and 20 or something, and Love takes off the run and then slides like after he gains 8 yards
Like,
when he still has 12 to go. But whatever, another punt there. Vikings 3rd drive, another penalty on the Packers. We give up a 3rd and 10. But then we end up holding the Vikings to another field goal attempt, which they end up hitting. Vikings are up 10-0. Packers 4th drive, we had a big holding call. Then Love underthrows, I can't remember who, but a big underthrow in that one. And then it just leads to another punt. I'm starting to realize my notes aren't that great because I can't even see this play in my head anymore. I do remember there was one where like he just didn't get it out to the outside as well as he should have, but I don't even think it was like, oh, if he made that throw, like we were good to go on that drive. But pretty sure that's another 3-and-out for us right there.
Yep. Like I said, there was no.
Yeah.
So in the first half, they didn't have anything. It wasn't 3-and-out until the last drive.
Vikings 4th drive we're on right now. Finally force a punt. Gave up another 3rd and long though. So we were giving up 3rd and long all game long. I don't have the stats up right now, but I want to say in the team stats department that I'm going to try to pull up, Vikings had to be like, they were only 8 of 18, but man, in the first half they had to be like 8 for 9 on 3rd down attempts.
I mean, it feels like it, right? I remember them going for it on 4th downs.
And I'm pretty sure they brought up a graphic somewhere in the first half, like where it was like Kirk Cousins is 8 of 9 on 3rd downs right now. But whatever, ended up getting a punt. So this is the Packers' 5th drive. We finally get a first down, then dropped a first down and got a holding call. Okay, so dropped another ball. Can't remember who dropped that one. Anyways, we finished this one with a field goal, and that was just thank God that we got that offsides call because it almost came like the first half almost came to like a comical ending, like where Carlson bangs one right off the upright and makes a loud noise and everything. And then thankfully someone on the Vikings was offside. So that will do it for the half. So we go into halftime at 10-3. It's getting the Vikings 5th drive, another 3rd and long they get for 30 yards. That was killing me at that point. Another 3rd down conversion on that one. And then we end up giving up a touchdown to Hockenson. And you guessed it, that was on a 3rd down as well. It was, up until this point, I don't think they missed. No, I guess we got them off the field one time with a punt. But anyways, that puts the Vikings up 17-3. Packers 6th drive, 3rd and long, pick to Reed. So this one was like, could be kind of interesting to talk to. Because when I was watching it, we had a buddy that ran at the store in one of my group chats that I'm in, and he asked like how bad it was. And to me, it seemed like Reed should either broke it up or even caught the ball, but it seemed like it was underthrown. But
I think he underthrows that ball because that's the opportunity for Reed to actually get that catch. Because if you overthrow that ball at all, there's somebody over the top as well. Like he may not have been right on Reed, but there was somebody over the top, and so if he overthrows it, it's a pick as well. Reed gets both hands on the ball, and the guy kind of like pops it out of there. So you can't let that guy catch it if you're not going to catch it.
Yeah, and that was exactly what one of my buddies said. He was like, if he threw the ball like where it needed to be, at the very best, Reed was getting lit up by safety. And then, like you said, if not, it might have been picked off by that same safety. But yeah, then that happens. Then right off the bat, this is when the Vikings start putting the screws to us. One play, touchdown drive to Addison. Vikings are up 24-3 at this point. And then the Packers finally put a nice drive together. We stalled out. We get to the 1-yard line, and then we hand it to Dylan out of the shotgun.
And we get a pass interference call to get to the 1-yard line too.
Yep. So 1st and whatever goal from the 1-yard line. Run. I think we ran it twice out of the shotgun. Anyways, we end up having to go for it on 4th down, and pretty nice play design to Romeo Dobbs for the touchdown. I mean, he was wide open. The dude on the Vikings was playing Joe Barry like defense, giving him five yards in the end zone
Yep.
to be like
And
wide
so,
open.
like, I guess I don't understand why you don't like. That's not your go-to play. I think we've hit that play 3 or 4 times this season for touchdowns. I don't
Yeah,
understand why that's like not like your go-to on the goal line, like right off the jump. And then the other thing I was confused about, we're on the 1 yard line, and like we're not even trying these QB sneaks that are like working for guys like the Eagles, right? And I get that it doesn't work for every team, but we have a big, strong, athletic quarterback, right? That some teams don't like. Minnesota, I wouldn't say you have that, right? You don't have the same type of dude. Not that Kirk is bad, but like I just don't think he's the same as Jordan Love. Like it's a different.
and they did it with Kirk Cousins. They did
They, they
the
did
exact play.
right, and so like even if you run it and miss it, you're still second down in one from the one, and then you run it and miss it again. Like the opportunity for them to stop that 4 plays in a row, I think is like almost zero.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
and I think it's just tipped too far into the scales, like where like it used to be like if you were first and goal within the 5 yard line, there's no chance you're running shotgun. And now it's turned into
Right.
like teams are just afraid to use an I formation, afraid to use a fullback. And I get it, every team doesn't carry a fullback, but I mean, you got a guy out there that you should have trained for that play, whether you put a
Right.
guard in or a tight end in, to just clean it up.
Blow
Yeah,
somebody up. Yeah.
I like the idea of putting a guard back there,
Yep.
just to be like, hey, we got AJ Dillon, big strong dude. We give him shit on the show, so I'm not gonna say we're free from the AJ Dillon shit.
No,
But
I actually think that AJ Dillon being like your power back is actually part of the issue for us at the goal line.
yeah, that
So
could be.
AJ Dillon at the goal line doesn't find a hole, right? He runs into his people. Where he's supposed to run, that's where he runs. And so if the hole isn't created there, he never makes it through. But if the hole is created where it's supposed to be, then he makes it through.
Yeah,
And so
and I mean that's deeper analysis than I do, but yeah, it does seem like something's wrong there.
the other thing I thought was really fucked up is that we didn't go to a big set until we went to the half yard line. So they got a
From
penalty
my
in there.
offside, yeah.
Yeah, and so like we were like in like 3 wide receiver, 1 shotgun, and then we get a half yard penalty right from the offsides or whatever, and then we go into a big set. So you're at that like I don't understand how that actually makes a difference in somebody's play calling brain, right, in the formation.
Yeah.
Like, you should be in the big set from the one, at least one of the first 2 plays, and they didn't do it until they got that offsides and they were at the half yard line, and they still ran out of the shotgun. They were in a big set, but they still ran it out of the shotgun.
Yeah, it just blows my mind a little bit.
Yep. Same here. Like I just don't understand the play calling down there. If you have that play that you're going to dial up on 4th and 1, that should be one of your first couple plays. Like if you have a desperation play, like this is what we're going to do to get into the end zone, you should be dialing that up on first down.
Yeah, and another thing that seemed to like bug me, and it seems to be like a trend that we do is so Packers go down and get a touchdown, and then the Vikings just come out and just put a drive together on this one. This was a drive that Kirk Cousins ended up going down. I think it was on 3rd down, so it wasn't like oh shit, like Kirk Cousins went down and then yeah, Cousins gets sacked on 3rd down, and then we block a field goal. Do you remember who Owens came up with the fumble? But
yeah,
Brooks.
Yeah, I was going to say it was one of the rookies, Carl Brooks.
Is that his second one of the year?
I don't think so. I think the first one was the tackle was Neiman or Walker.
Oh yeah, it was Neiman for sure. Okay, good call, Mike. But yeah, then we block a field goal, and then Kirk Cousins is down. Another way too optimistic Patrick moment where I was like, man, we might fuck around and win this one.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I was I was drinking or shooting up the hopium. It was like I was in it. I was thinking we were going to like turn this shit around.
Yeah, and then this drive we came out. Love was slinging the ball around, looking real good, and then Dontavian Wicks drops just
something at the like what the 4 he drops it. Like
it was
maybe like a touchdown even.
So maybe. I don't think it was.
Like
I don't think it was quite that. But yeah, but it was definitely a first down, and it just threw the whole rhythm off.
Yep,
because they were just ticking.
And to be honest, drops threw the whole rhythm off all day.
Yeah, that is true. But yeah, that ends up screwing us there. I want to say, let me see what I got in the notes here. But then 2 dumb fucking plays, turnover on downs. So I can't remember exactly what the 2 dumb plays were, but I think it was like a shotgun run to Dillon, and then I mean I can pull it up. I can pull up the actual plays, but it was an incomplete pass to Watson. So yeah, it was like a try for a fade. Which just seemed like a bad time to do that, like on 3rd down. And then
Watson on the fade, and then Love had ended up scrambling up. It was 4th and 16, and then Love ended up scrambling to get down there.
No, it was 4th and 5. Maybe I'm on the wrong drive, but this is the drive.
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, it was 4th and 5, and then he tried to force it into Dobbs over the middle, like which it looked like guys were draped all over him. There was like 2 guys on him, try to jam it into him. But yeah, then sure as shit, they come out. Hall, BYU, former BYU quarterback. I remember the running back Hall for BYU. I think I used them in like an NCAA season. I did not realize that all those guys were related. But anyways, whatever. He comes in the game, just gets piss pounded. Who got him? Like, was it Preston Smith Smith got him, and then Wyatt came up with the fumble. Or Hall sack by Preston Smith. Fumbles Preston Smith. Preston Smith recovered by Green Bay. Wyatt. Okay. Yep. And then we're right down there, ready to score again. And then we go, AJ Dillon run. The crowd starts booing, which I know Vilma said he didn't understand why, but I could completely understand. Well, I was like, why are we running a clock right now? Like, I mean, there was still plenty of time left in the game, but it was like, yeah, come on, guys, let's try to throw some. And then incomplete pass to Watson. Jordan Love scrambles up the middle for, that was the one where, Harrison Smith, man, plugged him like right at the marker. Dude, that guy's so good.
Yep.
That was such like a good instinct play by him, and then just
And like
such
honestly,
a perfect tackle.
like so I can see why people would like get upset that Love like runs it there. But I think if he goes like towards the edge, he might get even a little bit closer, right? So I get that Harrison Smith's coming down, and there's another guy that coming down on him too. But like Smith
Yeah,
made like a perfect tackle, 1 yard short of the first down.
yeah, I don't disagree with that run at all. Like,
I think if your guys are covered up, like what are you going to do, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to get that close, right? So you got to think that you're going to make it if you're going to get 15 out of 16 yards. Like
Yeah.
I want the guy that has the confidence that says, "Oh yeah, I'm going to make this easy." You know what I mean?
And sometimes I leave that wide open. I mean, it was like wide open for him to do it. He just had to make like one play, but I mean, one play against one of the best safeties in the game. So
yeah, and a veteran like savvy dude too, right? So,
yeah. Then we force the Vikings to a punt. Another drive comes to turnovers on downs. I'm not going to beat a dead horse too much more, and then Vikings kneel it out. That's the end of the game. So, what are your thoughts on this game, Mike? Do you want to roll right into the SWAT or give some?
Overall, my thoughts were that like I was pretty happy with the way Jordan Love played the game of football. I think the play calling was better, not great today, right? So I don't think it was like significantly better, but I do think it was better than what we've seen in the past. That we did adjust a little bit. I would like to see Green Bay get like more up for games that are in the division, right? So if we can, even if we're kind of shitty, like these are the games I want to be 1-score games.
Yeah, for sure. And this one should have turned into a 1-score game at some point. So yeah, finishing off drives was definitely not our strength in this one. But yeah, this was one of those games. So Jones only had 7 carries, Dillon only had 6 carries, but it didn't feel like one of those games where it was like, hey, we need to run the ball more. It seemed like we were ticking a little bit more in the short passing game, which was nice to see. But yeah, I leave this game thinking there is just a ton of opportunity left for this Packers team. Like the defense clutched up when they needed to, but I think we can get into the SWAT analysis and we'll get into some of these. So, and that was my big strength. So Pat's strength in the SWAT was the defense gave us a shot at the end of the game. I don't know if you want to call it
multiple shots, really. I mean,
field goal blocks, a defensive thing or a special teams thing, but whatever, defense and special teams gave us a shot at the end of the game, blocking that field goal, forcing that fumble. And honestly, you should have tied the game up in those 2 short fields and just couldn't put the ball in the end zone at the end of the game. Honestly, you could even it was like the Vikings were trying to let us win because we could have like you can't have the foresight to see this, but we could have took 2 field goals in those situations and we would have been in better shape coming into the last drive. So like we had 3 shots to score 2 touchdowns and 3 good shots to score 3 touchdowns. But that's all I have for strength. So I'll let you do your strengths in the SWAT.
So like I said, I thought Jordan Love played pretty well today, and I think our receivers let him down. So weakness would be like receivers, but Jordan Love, I thought made the reads he's supposed to make. I think there's a lot of fans that think his making of the read is too slow, right? Like it takes him too long to like get through his progressions. But I was not upset at all with the way they used Jordan Love today and the way he played. So moving on from that, I would say the same thing about Dillon and Jones. I thought that we did probably just enough, right, in touches for them. So they had 22 total, I believe, and then there was a drop by Jones. So they were supposed to get 23 minimum in that game, and Jones dropped that ball pretty early in the game, probably first down on that, right?
Yeah, I think it was like the first or second drive. I think it was the first drive.
Yep, and that's like a good pass. Like he had to turn around, but he got both hands on it. Like I think it bounced off his helmet after it went through his hands.
And he made a hell of a catch at one point in the game. Like where
he's a good wide receiver.
So it's not a consistent issue with him, but
right. And so they got 22 touches between Dillon and Jones, which I'm pretty comfortable with. I really would like that to be right around 30, but 22 is a lot better than what we normally do. I feel like in general, we're usually sitting at like fucking, like 12 rushes and like 4 or 5 passes between the two of them. And it's just not enough. And so we were at 13 rush attempts between the two. And then they both got 5 passes thrown to them. So I was pretty happy with that stuff.
Yeah. My one quick one I'll throw in there. Devontae Campbell was back, and I mean he had 14 tackles out there, and then Quay Walker. So you could definitely tell like we were stronger against the run with Devontae Campball, because if we go to the Vikings rushing stats, I think they had that one good drive where they run the ball fairly well. But yeah, we held them to 62 yards rushing.
And Minnesota doesn't have the last of the great rushing attacks. However, like we've been really bad in the run game, and so Campbell being back is helpful for sure.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to jump into weaknesses here. And I know late in this game we did get to the quarterback a few times, but early in this game we were not touching Cousins hardly at all. Like not putting any pressure on him, like no real like hurries, it didn't feel like. And I don't think we had a sack until like the play right before Cousins got hurt, and then we got one there, and then we got another one, boom, boom, right? So Gary got him once, and then Clark got him back to back, right?
Yeah, Preston Smith had a sack, Kenny Clark had a sack, so
Preston Smith had one too.
No,
maybe Preston got that one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So no, you're right. It looked like on the stats.
Gary and Preston were both there.
Yeah.
And then another weakness, I think no one is running the ship. So no one is holding any players or other coaches maybe accountable for all the fuck ups we have inside a game. So like the Owens thing, I don't think that's a mess up. Like you played the way you're supposed to be, right? And Igvari, I want to know who's holding him accountable. Like we can't expect him to hold himself accountable. He might, right? Like there's players that do. However, for the most part, we need coaches that are like screaming at dudes, like trying to make sure that this isn't happening again. And that's not the way our team operates. We have no one in there doing or like holding people accountable and making sure. Right now, I just feel like we're a really poorly coached team, and that's a reflection of the penalties, especially the roughing the passers and the offsides and like the not being disciplined part of it. You know, if you're getting a penalty by being a player like Owens was on that Addison play, I don't care, right? But if you're getting a penalty because you're 3 steps late to the quarterback, like that's on coaching.
Yeah,
right? So like
it was a bad penalty for sure.
I mean, the player does it, but the coaching has to be the ones that address it and like kind of rip him apart for doing it.
Yeah, and there was enough stuff. And I'll jump into my weaknesses that just piggybacks straight off that one. So the penalties killed us in this game. We had 11 penalties for 99 yards. We had a legal man downfield. Like that feels like a coaching one. I mean, that's kind of like a broken play one. Two,
but that's on a normal pass play. There's no reason he should be running downfield at all on that play. So that was pretty early in the game, right? And so it's on a pass play that he gets downfield somehow. And I can't figure out why he would have been going downfield.
Yeah, no, but just dumb penalties like that. We definitely had false starts. So those ones, like, to me, are like directly on your coaching staff. But I mean, obviously, yep. I guess it's directly on your coaching staff, but it is a player problem too. But they just got to fix the penalty shit. Next weakness I have is drop passes, just fucking killing us. Like we said, Musgrave dropped one, Wicks dropped one. I think Dobbs dropped one. Well, Dobbs dropped the interception.
So yeah, Dobbs dropped one on the sideline too, on the one where we ended up getting a penalty for the 12 man on the field, right? So like he gets his feet in, but he doesn't actually make a catch. I don't know if that's actually considered a drop, right? Because the penalty probably no one's the actual play and like but that was a first down too.
Yeah, and if he catches that, obviously you're declining the 12th man on the field type shit. I did love that thing. That made me smile a little bit.
Oh yeah, I thought like that. That's like the only team that I would have expected it more from is the Bears.
Yeah,
that's just the way I felt. So
it's like one of those challenges where the guy's like diving for the pylon, and they're like, he definitely scored a touchdown, so we're gonna challenge it. And then they challenge it, and it turns out it's a fumble, and it goes out of the back of the end zone, and it's like a touchback instead.
Yeah, and it's a turnover, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure their coach was just miffed at the fact that
they would even look at that. It's but yeah, it was like a funny situation. It's like calling somebody out for like doing something, not expecting to be looked at like for what you're doing. I don't know.
So I wonder, like, did he win or lose that challenge then though?
He won it. He was right.
So like, but by so like when they announced the first one, the Packers won, they won the challenge, so they're not charged a timeout or whatever, right? So does he get credit for winning that, or does he get credit for losing that because something happened in the play that it was essentially the same thing too, right? So like, it was probably 7 or 8 yards for the catch and 5 yards for the.
Yeah, but we didn't get a first down off of it. So he definitely won because the catch would have been a first down. But yeah, last weakness, 3rd and fucking long, man. That is insane how far we play off the ball. Like it was a 3rd and 8, and dude was playing 12 yards off the ball, and it was just a hook route. He never like came back in. I can't remember exactly who it was, but like it was just given to him. It was 8 yard. There was no resistance.
Yep. And this like all day, like it was anything underneath that they teams. Teams want against the Packers if they want something underneath. They can have it, especially on 3rd down. And it's ridiculous to me because we're playing at 10 yards when the first down is 8 yards.
Yeah, dude.
Right? Like pretty consistently.
We need to go out and hire Al Harris and Mike McKenzie to come back and show these corners how to box a little bit because that shit is insane to me.
And it's insanely frustrating to give up a 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 9 or 3rd and 12 or 3rd and 14. And it's just happening all the time. I mean, even 8 of those. I would imagine that the vast majority of their 3rd downs were 5 and over yards.
Yeah, no, dude. If it was, I would have rather seen like a 3rd and 1 than a 3rd and 8, like all game long. Because like we said, they were 10 for 18 on those, and then 1 for 1 on 4th down. So we like to be advanced analytics guys. So that's kind of like 11 for 18 for them on that one. But yeah, insane. And then it flips the scale on the time possession. So this is another big one that I like to hammer. So the Vikings had the ball for 36 minutes and 22 seconds to the Packers 23 seconds and 38. And that's all those 3rd down conversions, just adding up to extend drives to keep the Packers defense on the field, which they're going to give up 24 points. It wasn't even a bad 24 points that they gave up. To me, it doesn't seem like. But
I mean, so like in reality, so the way I would kind of look at that is those 17 are, and maybe 20 because you missed a field goal, but like 17 of those are like real, like you actually gave those up. And then the one that's the interception where you're on the 20, right? That's a 1-play drive. I mean, I get that you gave up 20 yards on that play, but like they put you in a shitty situation and you just gave up a touchdown. It was probably like 4 plays or something like that. I can probably look, but like it probably wasn't a ton of plays. And you're back out there after you just gave up like a long drive touchdown. And you can't tell me that doesn't affect the defense and like how they're thinking about the game. Oh, you can't tell me, and I'll buy it. Like I'll never like buy that piece of it.
Dude, there's got to be someone on the defense that's like, this is so fucking stupid. Like what is the objective here? Like, are we trying
I think Douglas says it like consistently that he's like, I mean, what did he say today? He said something along the lines of, so this is paraphrasing what he said, that like teams we play against just continue to run their offense because they know our offense isn't going to put them in a hole.
Yeah.
Right. Like he didn't say put them in a hole, but like our offense isn't going to score. So it doesn't matter if their offense scores. So they just continue to run their same system. We never can break them from like and put pressure on them to put them in a different system.
Yeah. And I mean that we just brought it full circle, not knowing that we were doing it, but But yeah, it turns out like 3rd and 8s keep us on the field. Our
Yeah.
defense, but like our defense still seems good. Like that's their one big hole, but it got confusing to me in that hole we went down. But yeah, it's
No,
something needs
like
to change on 3rd down.
the 3rd and longs like are ridiculous, right? Like that,
Yeah,
inexcusable, and that's what makes our defense look fucking atrocious. But everything else, our defense. So in theory, if you're a really terrible team, you shouldn't be getting to 3rd and long to begin with, right?
yeah,
So it should be 3rd and shorts all the time if you're getting to 3rd down. Like if you look at a few of those, the few of the Vikings drives, right? Like there's like 4 third downs inside that drive, and like half of those, 2 out of 2 or 3 of those are like 3rd and 7, and they're just getting those ones.
yeah.
All right,
And
let's jump to opportunities here. Like, how can we have a better like outcome moving forward? And I think, and this is like more the mental game and doesn't really have anything to do with players. I think Matt LaFleur has to become the asshole. He has to become like the guy that everybody thinks Rodgers is, right? The guy that holds everybody accountable on the offense, is screaming at offensive linemen because they missed a block, or ripping apart a young wide receiver because he ran the wrong route. I think that piece of it, Matt LaFleur was trying to be the good cop for a long time, which worked, right? So the first 3 years in Green Bay, that shit worked. Excellent. Rodgers holding everybody accountable, and LaFleur coming in and be like, all right, you're all right. Like, you got to do this and this and this, but like everything is good. But we need a bad cop, and that falls to the head coach. I don't think that it was a problem Rodgers was doing. I actually think that as long as you have a bad cop, it doesn't matter who that guy is, especially if he's respected on the team. But we don't have him anymore, and I don't think Jordan
we don't
Love
have
is
a
there.
veteran to do it either. So it
And we
has
don't
to
have
fall on the coach.
And we don't have a veteran asshole, right? So like our big veteran on the offense is Bakhtiari, who's not with the team, right? Or I mean, he's with the team, but like probably part time. And then like he's gonna have a hard time like telling these guys like, you gotta do it like this, because and screaming at him and like holding that respect when he's not on the field. Can't play.
Yeah, and lots of these guys haven't even seen him play more than 5 games on the field.
Right, and then you have Aaron Jones, who's like by all accounts one of the nicest humans on the planet, and like just wants to have fun all the time. He's not that dude either, right? Like, so I think Rodgers to some extent is like that's his personality on top of the fact that he's super respected.
We're missing a Leonardo on this team, is what you're
saying. Offensively for sure we don't have a Leonardo. I think maybe Campbell can be your Leonardo on defense, or like even a Kenny Clark or a Preston Smith. Like I think we have him on defense. We just do not have him on offense.
Yeah. All right, my opportunities. I mean, pretty obvious stuff. Clean up the penalties. This game's gonna be a lot closer.
Yep.
And then to me though, like this team really does. And I think this is what I was saying at the beginning of the episode. People are gonna think I'm crazy and maybe wasn't watching the same game as them. But I really do feel like this team feels like they can pull something together if just like 2 things click. I think this team is going to have the pieces. And I was going to add that question to the end is, do you think all the guys are here to win, Mike? Or do you think we're pieces away from this?
No, I don't think we're any pieces away. Maybe a second running back, which is like really minimal. Right. So to have a secondary running back that is good. Maybe. I think that all of our wide receivers are going to end up being like plus wide receivers in the league. I think we're going to turn back into like the 2010 Packers, where you have like every time a wide receiver has a bad game, you got 2 other guys that like step up and play really well. The talent feels like it's in the room. I think that they are there, that we're not veteran enough to get there yet, though. Right. And if you don't have, and so like back to my point about LaFleur, if you don't have the leadership, both in the locker room and like from the coaching staff, you might not ever get there. Right. These guys might all like waffle into non-existence because they have no good coaching. And then if like your brain gets broke because you're on this shitty team, then you turn into a shitty team. And so like the psychology part of it, I think, is huge. I don't think people, I mean, so I'm probably not unique in thinking like this is the most important part of the game, but I think they're all athletes. I think they're all really like everybody who makes it to the NFL, like they're all freaks, right? If you can get the person with the right mindset, then things change.
Yeah. No, I think you're 100% right. I've heard backup quarterbacks like Dan Orlovsky was on a show that I was listening to recently, and he was like, the difference between like your backup guy and your starter is just like one mental thing, like being able to do something a millisecond faster consistently. Like that's the difference in that. But yeah, and just having that will to win a little bit differently or whatever, like the psychology behind, hey, I'm shitty compared to these guys, to like, hey, I can compete with these guys. I am these guys. So
so like I just you said like a few things break our way, and like we could kind of go on a little bit of a run. So I think if I'm looking at a few plays here, so early in the game, you get like the Musgrave catch or the Jones catch, and you turn those into first downs early, and you get some success. Like I think that changes the game. I think if Reed either knocks that ball down or catches that ball, it's a different game too, right? So if you catch that ball over that guy's back or whatever, falling into him, you get a first down there on a drive that we were like kind of moving the ball a little bit. That changes the game too. You don't throw that pick, right? So like it's a ball bounce because Reed's hands are on that ball, and the guy just kind of like, as Reed's coming down, like rakes it away from him and pulls the interception. But like, if I don't know, I feel like that would never happen to Davante Adams. Like he'd have it in his hands, and the defender ended up with the ball. Never. Like that's something like no chance that would happen to a Davante Adams.
Maybe in his first 2 years, but yeah, that's
maybe. And so like I think that's the development piece that we need, and that could happen inside the year. I was hoping it would happen. I think there was a game early. It might have been the Lions where I was like, they need to understand how to catch the ball, right? Like that it's not going to be just like nobody's going to touch me. I'm going to catch it and then I'm going to fall down, right? Like that's not the way the NFL works. Somebody's going to come in pretty hot and they're going to try to get you. And so I do think that we have the pieces. I've heard people say like, let's get the first round pick and let's move on to a bunch of people out. I don't know who you're moving out. Like, I guess maybe if you want to like dig into the offensive line and get a little bit better there, but if you're drafting a guard or a center in the first couple rounds, I'm going to be like, or in the first round, I'm going to be asking what the hell you're doing, especially if you're in the top 10 picks. You choose to take like a guard or a center, I'm going to be like, that's not where you pick those guys. Those guys are, I mean, there's some really, really great ones, but not very often.
Yeah, if we can get like a can't miss tackle or something to be the next Bakhtiari or what.
I mean, so if you're in the top 3 picks, like in Marvin Harrison's like hanging out.
Oh fuck yeah,
I would love that, right? But like, I also think the wide receiver room is good. I think it's going to be just fine.
Yeah,
I really do. I do think that Marvin Harrison is a can't miss guy, but I think also that our wide receiver room is not bad.
Yeah, yeah, no, I like it. So I'll move on to threats here. You kind of handle it. You go because mine's dumb. I couldn't think of like a good.
All right, I think for me, like as a fan, my biggest threat is like that they give me so much hope all the fucking time, right? So like even in this game, all right, we're down 14, we get the ball back somehow, and I'm like, all right, all you gotta do is if you score here, then you just need another stop, one stop. Like what's the big deal there? Score, stop, score, and it's tied up. And so like they like mess with my brain all the time, right? And maybe I'm a dumb person because I just like am so optimistic when it comes to the Packers, but I think that was what you were trying to get in our notes here too. Yeah. And then I think the biggest threat to this team is that no change in philosophy. Nobody becomes the bad cop. We never get our Leonardo, right? And guys just stay where they're at the whole season. If they stay where they're at the whole season, we are fucked. If guys are comfortable dropping passes, if they're looking for pass interference instead of going to get a ball, we are not going to be a good team, right? If we're whiffing on a block and then it's just like, oh, like, well, I guess we'll punt, right? If that's the way it stays, we're not going to be good. And we're probably going to, like, you can lose to bad teams like the Bears. Like, you could end up losing those games too.
Yeah. And yeah,
just other teams develop, right? They develop through the season. We need to do the same thing.
And to tap into the philosophy thing is if someone doesn't go up to Joe Barry this week, I mean, it's not going to happen because, I mean, we've been saying it forever. And it's just like, you need to try something different on 3rd and long, dude. Like, you need to try something different. Like this, just show him every game like this.
But then he's going to say, I stopped 10 of those, right? Yeah. They're 8 for 18. The defense got 10 stops.
Yeah.
But like, holy shit, they weren't stops in the right places. Maybe you got to stop on the like inside the 10, right? Like that's not good. Like you can't let them get all the way down there and then get your stops.
Yep. But let's get moving.
Go Pack, go. We're still on board. Still probably going to win. What can we win now? 12 games? We got 12 games and it's easy. 10-game run here on out.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go. All right, let's move on over to the Badger game. So this one in Madison, the Badgers lose this game 24-10. We're going to try to be a little bit quicker on the Badgers because we always are. And I think it doesn't hurt that we just don't even remember Badgers defensive players' names. So we do not consider ourselves experts with the Packers. We definitely do not consider ourselves experts with the Badgers. But I did get to lock into this game and another game that I walked away with where I was like, damn, we kind of played with Ohio State. Like this is what I wanted to see in this game is a Badger team that looked like they can compete with them until Braylon Allen went down. And then it was like, how are we going to do this? But we got a young quarterback in a lot of snaps in a big time game that didn't look half bad. Like honestly, he looked better than I've ever felt about Graham Mertz, aside from watching Graham Mertz play Illinois in his first game in the COVID year. Like
or watching Graham Mertz play at Florida.
Right? Yeah, I mean, he's been all right at Florida, but it's nothing special. I guess Florida is 5-2. Did they beat Georgia this weekend? Man, my college football.
I'm not positive. I couldn't like.
Yeah,
sure. They did not. They got kind of stopped by Georgia. So 43-20.
They started out hot. I know they were winning there for a second, but yeah, Badgers come out strong. Force Ohio State to a turnover on downs, but then sure shit, we fumble right off the bat. Allen was not having the best game at holding on to the ball in this one.
Well, two pretty early, right? 2 fumbles pretty early.
Yeah,
we recovered one.
But... Yeah. But yeah, I want to see this like the actual stats because I feel like he fumbled 3 in the game.
Okay.
I definitely drink a little bit more when I watch the Badgers on Saturday than I do the Packers on Sunday as well. But yeah, he had 2 or 3. I think only 1 lost fumble, so probably only 2. But he fumbles it, giving Ohio State a shorter field. They got the ball at the 50-yard line, and then we hold them to a field goal. So I mean, that's pretty big when they got the weapons they got on the outside. Like we were saying, Marvin Harrison Jr. Looks like the first pick in the draft to me. Whether a team needs a wide receiver or not. But yeah, the Badgers come out, punt, force Ohio State to punt. Shimmer DK, I want to say, took that punt back quite a ways. Or I'm crazy because we have a 4-play drive. We had a 4-play drive for no yards that ended with a missed 54-yard field goal. Then we get an interception, so we're coming up with opportunities against this team. End up 3 and out. We had to punt it, and then Ohio State gets a touchdown. I can't really. So this was the Marvin Harrison Jr. drive where he catches a 16-yard touchdown. I think it was one of the more incredible catches of the game, at least, where it was in like the back corner, or not back corner of the end zone, but like side of the end zone. We get the ball back, punt, get another pick. We do end up turning that one into a field goal. Shit, dude, my thing is messed up because now it's in 10-10. Oh yeah, we get a field goal to end the half. So we go in the half 3-10, and then we come out and look real good. I can't remember. So
drive it
Braylon
down.
Allen,
Pauling catches that touchdown in the kind of the corner of the end zone there.
yeah, but Braylon Allen was out at this point, right? So we did this drive without him because Jackson Aker was the guy getting the carries in that drive. So I mean, we tied up without Braylon Allen. And another consistent theme, I think this is Packers. This is just Wisconsin football right now, is we finally get a touchdown crack through. And we're like, hey guys, we're looking good. Well, then we go out and just give up another touchdown. This was another TD to Marvin Harrison. So we're down.
But Henderson did most of the work. It was predominantly Henderson, their running back, just kind of lighting us up. So he had a 25-yard run, a 7-yard run, 2-yard run. So he was kind of just walking it down on us.
Yeah, soften him up. We'll get quick here. Then it turns into 3-0 Wisconsin. They hold Ohio State to a punt. We have 10-play drive that ends in punt. Ohio State punts, we punt it back. So, I mean, I think if you have Braylon Allen, you get some more sustained drives in there, maybe get a touchdown tied up 17-17. But then this was the Travion Henderson 33-yard run for a touchdown. Our punt, I can't remember what it was, but it must not have been the greatest of punts. Because, it was only a 45-yard drive. So they got it on our side. So I don't really remember the punt return. But anyways, then they're up 24-10 with how much time is left in the game? Like 5 minutes left in the game. And without Braylon Allen, that one was over there. But like I said,
it's funny. So that next drive we have is 10 plays for 25 yards. I don't even know how you do that. Yeah. So I was gone at this point. Had to do some stuff with the kids. And so like, I'm not even sure how you have a 10-yard drive or a 25-yard drive that has 10 plays in it.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, my memory's kind of failing me as well. I mean, there had to be some penalties.
Something goofy that happened.
Yeah, things of that nature. But I also leave this game. I mean, if we're gonna just break into it quick, we didn't write our SWAT down for this one, but strengths. This team was self-fighting. That was good to see. You can go out, you're 5-2. You haven't played anybody very well this year. You lose every competitive game you're in. And they come out
who was ahead for a while, but made a comeback, which could have been the changing point, right? So like that can be our changing point here is the Illinois game.
Yeah, and you come out, you force turnovers against Ohio State, and you make this kind of a game. I mean, I wouldn't say this isn't a game like the final score doesn't reflect like what happened on the field. It did. I mean, that's how it was. But Braylon Allen doesn't go down, and I guess that would be what do we do? We do strengths, weaknesses. But it would be like an opportunity. He stays healthy that game. I think we keep it within a touchdown, which I know
even if you can game plan for not having him, right? So losing him in the middle of the game hurts too because you should have a game plan that revolves around Braylon Allen right now, and losing him in the middle of the game doesn't allow you to have the same type of game plan at the very least. Does that make sense?
100%. Because you were like, hey, we're going to give him the ball, at least 20 times. Because I mean, he went down in the first half and he already had 10 carries for 50 yards, and he was looking fairly effective, like when he got the ball as well.
And to be fair, that's the way you control the ball, right? So like the way Ohio State scores is they come out and they dominate you offensively generally, right? Their defense is good enough, but offensively they put you behind the 8 ball, and then you're going to struggle. And so if you can control the ball and keep the ball out of the hands of their offense, which is generally very potent, like Pat said, they might have the first overall pick in a wide receiver on that team, like a guy that just nobody can figure out how to cover in college football. And so, but I do think that we've had an adjustment, and I don't know if it's because it's Ohio State that we have an adjustment. Like, hey, like we have dudes that can line up and run the ball down their throat, and we kind of are now. JJ Watt made a pretty good tweet, and he's like, at no point ever in the history of the world should, when it's a 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1 or something like that, or on the goal line, I don't remember the exact scenario.
Yeah, I've seen
that Wisconsin should line up in the shotgun. That should never happen, right? Like you have all the big dudes that in the world that you want to bring in. You have guys that were recruited to be road graders, like they were recruited to run block. Bring them in, let them do their thing.
Yeah, and it seems ridiculous to me. I think, like I was saying, even with the Packers, like that pendulum swing a little too far. I don't think you should never be in shotgun in those situations, but I do not think you should be. Yeah, like I don't think it's 100% thing. Like if you want to try a play out where you run 5 wide receivers on the 1-yard line to see if you can, either open up the middle for a QB draw or just find someone, hit them on like a quick slant, some cheap, or just catch the defense off guard. But you're not catching defenses off guard when you're doing it every freaking time that you're on the 1-yard line. Because that's like why it came into play, because it was like, oh, there's a wrinkle that we can have here. We can do like a read option or like RPO off of this. And now defense are just prepared for that. So get back to the point where it's like, hey, let's do Mike's Brandon Staley thing and say my guys are better than your guys, and I'm gonna prove it to you.
So, but in college football, that's real. Like, my guys are better than your guys in college football is a real thing, right? So if in Wisconsin's probably not this currently and hasn't been in the last 4 or 5 years, but before that, if you said, all right, I'm just going to put 7 of my offensive linemen into the game and I'm going to run it down, I'm going to put 1 at fullback and then I'm going to put 1 at tight end, and Wisconsin, my 7 probably Pro Bowler offensive linemen when they get to the NFL are coming in and we're going to just run it down your throat. We probably could have with any team in the country.
Oh yeah.
Right? Could you do it the entire game? Maybe not. But for 1 play for 1 yard, if you told me like I feel like I could run behind the Wisconsin line for 1 play for 1 yard if like the whole world was on it, right? Like because they would do the job. Like,
Yeah, just grab the ball, close your eyes, and run forward as fast as you can.
well, yeah, just try not to run into any offensive lineman, right? Like that's the goal with the Wisconsin team. So,
But yeah,
I did think another strength was that it's just Lock, right?
Yeah,
Braden Lock. I didn't know if it was Lock or Locky or something, but I was pretty sure it was Lock.
I'm going with Lock.
Yeah, and so I think that he looks good. He looks like a guy for the future. If I don't know where Mordecai's injury stance is, like what if he could come back. I don't know that it matters anymore though, right? So this guy looks like he can control the offense. He can deal with the offense. I don't. So I'm happy with that guy being the guy moving forward. He probably only has 1 year left if he's really, really good though, right? So if he turns the corner, he'll have 3 years out. So this is his second year out of high school, and so that because he's a redshirt, so he could leave after next year. He's a redshirted freshman, so in theory he could leave after next year's season. Can't leave this year.
Yeah, but portal out, but that's where I think that NIL stuff's coming into play to be helpful because I mean you're a Wisconsin quarterback. Like sure, if he freaking turns into some just crazy stud, he's gonna be gone. But I mean, you're going to stay all 4 years at Wisconsin, more than likely, if you're a quarterback there. And then plus, if you are good, you're going to get money at Wisconsin. Like if you're bringing Wisconsin to Big Ten championships and stuff like that, and there's some Wisconsin.
Yeah, there'll be a corporation. It might not be millions of dollars, but you're going to be making good money to be hanging out as a student at the university, right? So, So, I mean, I guess more injuries is threatening to the team. I guess moving back to like only being able to do air raid now that Allen is out, like I think that would be problematic for the Badgers moving forward, be a threat to like the success for this season. It might not be a threat long term, but it is a threat currently. And then,
but I would say an opportunity though is that we're going to have to do it a little bit quicker. Like we're going to actually have to do that. Like hopefully, Aker is a good running back and he's suitable. I don't know how to feel about him. I mean, he had 9 carries, 3.8 yards a carry. I think he's going to be good, but I also think every Wisconsin running back turns out to be pretty damn good.
To some extent, the system, right? Like you're a good player. You're not me trying to run back there, right?
Yeah.
And so,
that'd
you're already a decent player. Yeah, it would be. Like I'm not arguing that it wouldn't be dog shit. I'm just saying that like the offensive line is going to be, at least traditionally, it's going to be enough of a power that like you should be decent no matter who you are.
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't be able to fail as a Wisconsin running back. You might not be like a first overall pick or like a first round pick, but you should be able to fail. And I think NFL teams realize that to some extent. Like even John Taylor, like didn't get drafted in the first round, probably because he goes to Wisconsin and not because he's not talented enough to be a first rounder.
I thought he did get drafted in the first round.
I'm pretty sure he was a second rounder. I think he was actually taken after Clyde Edwards-Helaire and maybe one other guy. That's okay. Draft.
So yeah,
I mean, it doesn't matter. Like he wasn't drafted. Like he's not drafted in the top 10. He wasn't Robinson or Gibbs from this last year, right?
Yeah, and this is an opportunity that I'll have to dig into more. I'm not going to do it on the fly right here. But the Big Ten West, Minnesota is currently sitting at the top of it at 3-2 because they beat Iowa. Iowa is also 3-2. Wisconsin is 3-2. Nebraska is 3-2. So the Big Ten West is wide open.
And if Iowa wins out, we can't get it back.
I don't know exactly how that is going to work because say it's a 3-way tie with. Oh no, yeah, no, that's true. Never mind.
If Iowa wins out, I don't think we can get there.
So yeah, we need one more loss out of Iowa. But we obviously play Minnesota, so that could handle itself. But I think, it just in the opportunity, like you just have nothing to hold back. I felt like Phil Longo called a pretty good game in this one. I thought he knew sign language, just with the way he was calling in all these signs. If those Wisconsin coaches or college football coaches know all those signs, but they do not know sign language, I think there's something foul about that. I think that should be a requirement. Were you seeing that? For some reason, I could not stop seeing the. If you watch on YouTube, you'll see what I'm talking about.
People have always been okay with signs, right? So that just makes sense. Like they've always given the sign from third base to the hitter instead of just talking to them. And I was the guy that just fucking hated. So I was a catcher, and so I fucking hated signs. And I came from an attitude the coach that I had the exact same sign for 40 years, right? When I was at Royal, he had been coaching forever, and he had the exact same sign, right? So shoulder was take, elbow was bunt, wrist was steal. Then that was all the fucking things we ever did, right? And so. And everybody in the conference knew exactly what the sign was. He didn't give a fuck. He was Staley to some extent. My guys are going to execute what's supposed to happen, and we're going to win the game, right? It doesn't matter. And so when I went to Brookwood, they'd get so mad at me because I wouldn't even fucking hide what the sign was. I didn't care. We'll just do whatever we're supposed to do, and I wouldn't do all the jazz.
It's a fastball, high and tight, buddy. Get ready.
No, not like that. So if I'm calling the defense, right? So if I'm calling the defense, guys are in first and third. That's usually when we call the defense in our conference. And so I'd walk out and I'd do some stupid ass fucking sign, but I'd basically just hold up a number. I didn't care.
I'm going to throw it back to the pitcher really hard so it makes it look like
I'll just second base. Right, I'm going to throw it back to the yep. And so you at third, if you want to go, go for it. And we'll get you. But no.
All right. Well, I think that is all we got. I think we'll try to break down the Badgers a little bit more. We're going to do some talking off air, but I think I might have some positive news coming up. But as always, thank you for the support. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys listening. Like, share, subscribe, download. We've been getting a decent amount of views for us on our YouTube stuff, so we appreciate that. But Mike, what do you got for these guys?
Yeah, we appreciate it quite a bit. I mean, thank you guys for listening. Like, even if you're making it this far, just give us a subscribe. Like, it makes us feel good on the inside, right? It's the giving season coming up here in a few days. So if you're doubting the Bucks, the Badgers, the Brewers, or the Packers, you can eat our shorts. Roll it.
All them suckers that doubted the Packers can't eat my shorts. All them suckers that doubted the Packers can't eat my shorts. Eat them. All them suckers that doubted the Packers can't eat my shorts. Eat my shorts.